Before we look at factoring expressions in the form ax squared plus bx plus c using the box method, we're going to review expanding using the box method. So to start, we're going to look at expanding the expression x minus 3 times 4x plus 1 using the box method. So to do this, we're going to start by setting up the box. And we're going to draw something that looks like this here. And across the top, we're going to put our first binomial, x minus 3. And across the side, we're going to put 4x plus 1. To fill in the box, we're going to look at this top left-hand corner first. It comes from multiplying 4x times x, which gives us 4x squared. The next box to the right here comes from 4x times negative 3, which would give us negative 12x. And then down here in the bottom left, this one comes from multiplying the 1 times the x, so it'll be 1x, or you can just write x. And the bottom right comes from 1 times negative 3, or negative 3. So our answer is going to be a 4x squared minus a 12x plus an x minus 3. So we can collect like terms. So for starters, we'll have a 4x squared. Then we'll put our x's together. So we have negative 12x plus x, so negative 11x. And then we'll put our minus 3 at the end. So 4x squared minus 11x minus 3 is the expanded form of our starting expression. Now we're going to look at how do you actually reverse that process to actually factor expressions using the box method. So we'll try to factor 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. Again, we'll start by drawing out our box. In our box, the first term, 3x squared, and the last term, minus 8, go directly into the box. So 3x squared is going to go here into the top left corner, and the minus 8 is going to go down in the bottom right. The next two terms have to add to negative 2x. So there's lots of terms that add to negative 2x, so we have to figure out what terms we're actually going to be looking for. Going back to our left-hand side here, let's take a look at these two numbers here. The 4x squared times negative 3 gives me negative 12x squared. The two that I've circled in red, negative 12x times x, also multiply to negative 12x squared. So going over here, the two blue numbers multiply to negative 24x squared. So the two terms that we're looking for will have to multiply to the same thing. So we're looking for two terms that multiply to negative 24x squared. But we also know they have to add to our negative 2x up here. So I'm going to write down all the factors of 24. So 1 times 24 would be 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, 5 doesn't work, 6 and 4 is just going to repeat. So these are our four options, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. I know that if they multiply to a negative 24, one term in the pairing has to be negative and the other one has to be positive. And they add to negative 2. So if I look through my terms, 4 and negative 6 will multiply to negative 24 and add to negative 2. So the two terms I'm looking for then are 4x and negative 6x. So let's put them in the chart. And it doesn't matter which one goes where in the chart. So we'll put a 4x here and a negative 6 here, negative 6x. But if you would put the negative 6x down here and the 4x here, it would still work fine. Now to factor it, we're really looking for the outside terms. So back on the left-hand side here, I'm going to start with this 4x here. This 4x is the greatest common factor of the terms in the first row. So back on the right-hand side here, we're looking for the greatest common factor of 3x squared and negative 6x. So the greatest common factor would be 3x. Going back to the left-hand side here, this 4x squared came from 4x times x. So on the right-hand side, we can say 3x times what gives me 3x squared. So 3x times 1x, or just x, would be 3x squared. Using that same process, I'm going to move over to the right. This negative 6x is 3x times something. So 3x times negative 2 would be negative 6x. Down in the bottom left, this 4x is x times something, so that something must be 4. So 4 times x would be 4x. And then to check it, 4 times negative 2 does indeed equal negative 8. So our factored expression would be x minus 2 times 3x plus 4. And that would be factoring using the box method.